Hi Forester fans, I'm Paityn Tabor here on the Coaches Show with Coach Kat, where we sit down each week and talk about last week's game and the upcoming one. This week we sat down and recapped last week's matchup against Cornell and discussed the homecoming matchup this weekend against IC. Stay tuned.
Hey Coach, congrats on the big road win against Cornell last weekend and on being 3-0 in the conference.
Thanks. We're just trying to keep up with you guys in women's soccer.
Absolutely. Well, before we talk about our homecoming game this weekend, let's recap last weekend against Cornell. So at halftime, your team was only at 14-7, which is one of the tightest halves that you've been in thus far. Do you think that this was a product of your guys coming off the bye week and taking a long road trip and overnight for Cornell?
Yeah, I think some of those things may have contributed, but we just missed some opportunities. I mean, we were down inside the red zone 2 other times and just didn't convert points. And I think that had we, done those, we took a risk early in the game going for it on a 4th and 3 and didn't convert, and then we were in the red zone. And if you watch film, we got 2 guys wide open in the end zone, and we don't hit them on 2nd down. So we need to just clean up some of that execution. We were trying a few things coming out of the bye week to that we'd seen on our self-scouts and trying to just kind of course correct on those. And so I think that we came back out of halftime, refocused, re-energized, and I think that we had a really strong, we'll call it communicative session during halftime that allowed us to come back out with a little bit more intent, and we had a great third quarter to kind of seal the game.
Yeah, well, you speak about this third quarter. Your guys totally exploded for 20 points. What sort of sparked this?
That communicative session at halftime. I like to think. I think between players and coaches, there was a feeling of missed opportunities, and we didn't want to continue to have that. I think that we knew we were a better team. We had the talent to do it. We just didn't close out drives. We were executing at a good level even when we weren't scoring. We just didn't get into the end zone. I think that once we got through that roughness and had a chance to kind of communicate through halftime, we were able to come back ready.
Now to pivot to this weekend against Illinois College, which is also the homecoming game. Homecoming is always a really special time here in the Forest, and I'm just kind of wondering from your perspective, what makes it so special, and how does it contribute to what is already an electric atmosphere at Farwell?
Yeah, I mean, we'll always have a bigger crowd, and I think there'll be alums who come back through all the different generations, and this year's kind of unique. We are honoring the 2012 conference championship team, and so especially for me and selfishly for me, those were my first group of seniors as the head coach. And so the guys that were seniors on that team were the guys that came in with me. And so to have them back here to celebrate their conference championship makes it really special, coming after a championship a year ago. But the crowd will be great. The biggest thing for our players is not to get distracted by any of that stuff. I mean, we'll have the pep rally and all those types of things. But I try to remind them that their job on homecoming is to win the game. Homecoming weekend is a lot more enjoyable when the football team wins their game. It's a lot less enjoyable when the football team loses their game. So their job is to win the game. And then after the game, they can see all the alums and hang out with those guys and do that stuff. So I think it's just great. They have a vested interest, the alums that are coming back. And it will be the biggest crowd we have all year. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to play in front of.
Coach, last weekend, your guys broke a school record in the run game for yards per carry. Do you think IC will load the box on you to force you to throw? And if so, what are you hoping to see out of your passing attack?
Yeah, I mean, if they do load the box, we'll throw the ball. I mean, we've got guys on the perimeter, and Seth Jelovich and Langston Matoyer and Trevor Land and Jake Delatorre, and I mean, even Alan Hansen. I think he's had a touchdown like 3 games, and so we've got guys to get the ball to. We've just kind of continually focused on what does the defense give us, where do we have the numbers advantage, and wherever those spots are, really taking advantage of that. I mean, last year against IC, we ran the ball really well and didn't have to throw the football because they were really concentrated on, they were double teaming AJ and doing some different things in their coverage scheme. What they decide to do this year, we'll find out in the game. They've kind of been all over the place defensively with an odd front and even front, playing different coverages. And so they really just decide for them what they think they need to do to stop us. Again, I think most teams right now are going to stack the box against us or try to bring that 8th guy into the defense, into the box. And so we've still been able to handle that. We just have to see if they start bringing that 9th guy in, then we got to throw the ball. Let's not be stubborn.
Coach, IC is currently 0-3 in conference, but as with any team, there are surely going to be challenges that you and your guys will face. What are your keys to victory this week?
I mean, IC is always the most misleading 0-3 in a conference because they played the 3 undefeated teams besides us in the conference. They played Chicago, Monmouth, and Ripon. I think that they are a young team on offense. They've had some growing pains at quarterback, but they're starting to figure some of those things out. And so once we identify who the quarterback is and the kind of game plan that they've used with each quarterback, really honing in on that defensively and shutting that down. Offensively, it's about getting going early and not stubbing our toe against the wall. The first couple of drives, really getting the ball moving, executing our plays. And again, I think that execution will always be a big part for us, but it's really knowing that in game there's going to be changes we have to make. And when we do have to make those changes, how quickly can we implement them? At what level of efficiency can we implement them? And then can we build upon them as we go throughout the rest of the game as they make their adjustments? I mean, it's always that chess game being 2 moves ahead. If you're 1 move ahead, you're probably losing at that point. If you can be 2 moves ahead, you can probably go on a run, and that's what we want to see happen.
Well, that's all I have for you today, Coach. So thank you for sitting and talking with me, and I look forward to talking with you next week after another Forcer victory.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Go Forcers!